start with our lesson in algebra. So the first lesson, our lesson 1, will be all about real numbers. So in algebra, in mathematics in general, when we say numbers, it is actually composed, so to speak, of um, two types. So the real numbers and also the complex. Wait, ha? Oops, nawala sa screen. I'm sorry. So the real numbers and the complex numbers. Wait, let me erase that. Change this here. So complex numbers. So complex numbers are numbers which is comprised of a real part and um, an imaginary part. So that's why maybe you are familiar or you have encountered these numbers that is in this form a plus bi, wherein this part bi is the imaginary part. But in this particular lesson, we will just be dealing with real numbers. So when we say real numbers are of two types. It could be irrational numbers or rational numbers. So let's just look at these two types first. When we say irrational numbers, okay, how about kung ang rational numbers na natunahon? When we say rational numbers or rational, depende lang siguro. I'll accept both. So when we say rational numbers or rational number, look at this root word, ratio. So these are numbers that could be expressed into a ratio. So for example, numbers 1, because that's 1 over 1. 2 is a rational number, 3, and so is, let's say, 4/5, because that is a ratio of 4 and 5. So 4 over 5 is a rational number. So any number that could be expressed into a ratio is rational number. So another example siguro, even if it's 0.125, 0.125 is actually a rational number, although it's a decimal number. Why? Because it could still be expressed into a ratio. 0.125 is a ratio of 125 over 1000, and that is actually, I think it's 1 over 8. Okay, 1 over 8 ba? Anyway, just check sa calculator. How about irrational numbers? These irrational numbers are numbers that cannot be expressed into a ratio. Okay, examples of these numbers are the number pi. So pi is 3.14, 15, and so on. So that's irrational because the number or the decimal point after the whole number, or the decimal digits after the whole number, does not end. Also, Euler's number, or E, it's an irrational number. Also, square root of 2, because when you extract the square root of 2, you will not get an exact value. That is a value that is, the decimal part, or yeah, no, the decimal places just never ends. Okay, so these are the two main types of real numbers, rational and irrational. So let's proceed to the types of rational numbers. So a rational number could be an integer or a non-integer fraction. So when we say integer, integers are whole numbers. Whole numbers including 0. Okay, dire sa integer. So pag when we say integer, these are whole numbers. So it could be either positive whole numbers and or negative whole numbers. Okay. Okay, so those are integers. So what are examples of integers? So examples of integers are whole numbers: 1, negative 10, negative 5, negative 1000, negative 2020. So all whole numbers are integers, and actually including 0. So 0 is an integer. So again, an integer are whole, positive, or negative numbers including 0. Okay, for non-integers, these are these are fractions. So in this case, this is a non-integer. Sorry, this is a non-integer, and also this. So it's rational, but it's a non-integer. So for example, this 4/5 is a non-integer, 5/6 is a non-integer because it's a fraction, and also 0.22, that is a rational number but a non-integer. Okay, so next is, so that is under integer now. So under integer, it could be negative or positive whole number. So ang positive whole numbers naman, this could be natural numbers or zero and zero. So when we say whole numbers, that could be natural numbers or zero. So when we say natural number, these are whole numbers that are used for counting. So that's why zero is not included in the natural numbers. That is separate. Because you do not count by starting at 0. So you starting at 1. So you count at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay? But 0 is considered as a whole number. And whole numbers are integers as well as negative integers. So I think this is a very easy. This is too basic, but that is the flow of our discussion in this bridging course. We'll start with the very easy concepts. Then, as this course progresses, ato ta sa mga lisod-lisod na. Okay? So, sorry for the stutters because this is really awkward for me. First time to do this online. Okay? Okay, let's have our first problem. So let's try this particular problem, classifying real numbers. So let's call this our problem 1. So determine which number in the set are natural, whole numbers, integers, irrational, and irrational numbers. Rational numbers and irrational numbers. So let's take a look at the set. The set is composed of these elements: negative 13, negative square root of 5, negative 1, negative 1/3, 0, 5 over 8, square root of 2, pi 7. So let's start with letter A. So let us classify which of these are natural numbers. So for the set of natural numbers, again, a natural number are counting numbers. So meaning these are whole numbers that are positive, or these are whole numbers excluding 0. So natural numbers here are, of course, it's saman 7. It's a natural number. Okay. Okay. So for the second part, number 2, letter B. Sorry, letter B. For whole numbers. Whole numbers. So whole numbers, these are positive numbers and 0. So look at kodigo dati oh. Whole numbers are natural numbers and 0. So let's just include 0. Okay, 7 is a natural number man. So 0 and 7 are whole numbers. Okay, so next, let us identify the integers. So again, when we say integers, these are positive and negative whole numbers. Oh, sorry. These are whole numbers and negative numbers and 0. So therefore, kung nito, if ang atong order is from lesser values padako. So let's start with negative 13. That's a whole number pero negative. So that's still an integer. So negative 1 is an integer, 0 is an integer, and as well as 7 is an integer. So next, D, how about rational numbers? Ayusin natin, sorry. Rational numbers. So the set for natural numbers are, so ang satang rational numbers is our numbers that could be expressed into a ratio. So that includes negative 13 because that's negative 13 over 1. How about negative square root of 5? No, it cannot be expressed into a ratio. Negative 1 could be expressed into a ratio, and 1/3 is a ratio, 1/3. What else? 0, is it included? Of course, ayan o. We trail 0, ayan siya sa natural number. Diba? The trail goes to 0, of course. So, natural number na siya. 0/1 is still 0, a natural number. Okay? What else? So, square root of 2, 5/8 is a natural number. Sorry, rational number, or rational number. Square root of 2 is not, pi is not, and 7 is part of the set of rational numbers. So, how about for our letter E? For our irrational numbers, ayusin natin. So, asa diri ang dili ma-express into a ratio? Of course, it's negative square root of 5. Di mo siya ma-ratio. Square root of 2 and pi. So, these are our answers. Okay? So, these are very easy problems pa, no? So, hashtag walang challenge. Ay, sorry. Walang challenge. Okay, let's proceed to our next problem. Wait, let me look for it here. So let's try this one. Okay, so let's try to plot these numbers in the real number line. So yun pa kayo, no? So, okay ra na. Para we'll start with very easy topics, then progressing into medyo complicated. So, real number line. So, unsa maning real number line? So, the real number line is just horizontal line that represents, or in which all points represent all real numbers. So, mana siya. So, this is a real number line. So, we'll start, let's identify this na lang as 0. So, all points in this real number line are real numbers. It could be rational or irrational. So, let's say this unit is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5. So, below, to the left of 0, are negative numbers. So, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. So, let us try to plot these numbers in this real number line. Walang challenge. Sobrang dali. So, let's start with 7/4. So, 7/4, pila man na siya? That's 1 point something. Negative. So, that is to the left of 0. So, let me use my calculator just to have an exact value. So, 7/4 or negative 7/4 is 1.75. So, 1.75, that is close to negative 2. So, it's around, sorry, lumilipad ang ating display. So, that is around here. So, this is negative 7/4. Diba? So, that's half of half. Okay, this is negative 1.5, so negative 1.75 is right there. Okay, next. How about 2.3? So that's a positive number. So if this is 2 and this is 2.5, so 2.3 is around here. So let's change that. So around here, so that's 2.3. Sobrang dali. How about 2/3? 2/3 is, that's 0.67. So it's still positive. So if this is 0.5, so 0.6 is right there, or let's say 0.7. So therefore it's around there. So 2/3. How about negative 1.8? So that is close to negative 7.4. Actually, halos dikit na sila. So, ibahin natin color. Ito siya. sorry, dikit na. So, that is negative 1.8. Ay, napakadali. So, this is hashtag again, walang challenge. Okay, let's try another one. Okay na? Sige, let's proceed to the next topic. Okay, let's try to look at this. Again, madali lang to. Ordering real numbers. Ordering is simply pagsunod-sunod. No? Identifying which one is higher. These are so easy topics pa, no? So anyway, okay ra na para mabore sa ata. So definition of order on the real number line. So if A and B are real numbers, imaginein muna natin. If A and B are real numbers, A is less than B if B minus A is positive. Of course. Hit natin ha. A is less than B if B minus A is positive. Correct. Let's say A is 1, B is 2. So 2 minus 1 is positive 1. The order of A and B, the order of A and B is denoted by the inequality A is less than B. Yan, A is less than B, so it's written this way. This relationship can also be described by saying that B is greater than A by writing B greater than A. So, kanigihapon ni siya, ay lang binaliktad yung pagka-state. The inequality A with this sign, that means A is less than or equal to B. So, A is less than or equal to B. And the inequality B with this sign, that means B is greater than or equal to A. So the symbols, these symbols are the inequality symbols. So less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So easy, humana mo ani sa high school, napakadali, at least na review. Sobrang easy. So let's try a problem na lang. Let's try a problem. Let's try to order. Okay, ba't di ko ma-paste? Paste natin kasi para di ko na isulat. So, ordering real numbers. Let's try this problem. I-copy lang na siya. So, this is problem 3. Problem 3. Place the appropriate inequality symbol between the pair of real numbers. Ay, sobrang dali, no? So for letter A, of course, negative 3 is less than 0 because it is negative 3 is at the left of 0 in the real number line. O sige, let's pretend na mga beginners tayo. So let us, sige, maglagay tayo dito ng real number line. Ayan, 0. These are positive numbers to the right. Okay, let's start with letter A. So for letter A, the pair is negative 3 and 0. Of course, negative 3 is right here. That's negative 3. So it's at the It's at the left of 0. So therefore, negative 3 is less than 0. Or 0 is greater than negative 3. Sobrang dali. So walang challenge. Letter B. How about negative 2 and negative 4? Okay, negative 2 is right here, and negative 4 is further to the left. So, meaning negative 4 is less than negative 2. Walang challenge. Or, negative 2 is mas dako, greater than negative 4. Or, negative 4 is less than negative 2. Napakadali. So, letter C. How about this? Medyo tricky kasi fraction. 1/4 and this 1/4 and 1/3. Okay, so let's say this is 1 unit. So this is 1. 1/4 meaning kaning 1 unit atong gi-divide into 4. So i-divide into 2, ang 2 i-divide na pod. So 4 ikaw pa na pag-divide. So ang 1/4 is this distance. So therefore this is 1/4. How about 1/3? Uy, asa na yung 1 unit natin? Okay, pointer yun eh. This is 1/2, this is 2/3, so this is 1. I mean, tama ba? 3/4, I mean. 3/4 and 1. So, this is 1. So, how about 1/3? So, kung kani siya ang 1 unit, ang 1/3, gi-divide nato ang 1 unit into 3 parts. So, or ana. So, that means, actually, 1/3 is greater than 1/4, right? Kasi yung 1/3 is right here. That's 1/3. Okay? Okay? Or, pwede din tingnan in decimal. Ang 1/4 is just 0.25, while 1/3 is 0.333. Of course, 0.33333 is much bigger. So, therefore, 1/4 is less than 1/3, or 1/3 is greater than 1/4. And letter D, how about this? Again, familiar naman taan eh. So, if this is 1 unit, so this would be -1. Ibahin natin yun. -1. So, what is -1/5? Ang 1 ko, no, gi-divide into 5 parts. So, probably this. So, kani ang -1/5. This distance. Okay? So, this would be -1/5. And of course, -1/2 is katunga sa 1 unit na dire. This is -1/2. So, what does that mean? Of course, mas less ni siya, ay mas nasa further to the left siya than this. So, therefore, wait ha, that means, wait, ink. That means, ang 1/4, sorry, -1/5, ang -1/5 is what? Is mas dako than -1/2. Okay? Mas dako kay nasa right man siya. So, kung yung order niya kasi, kung ano yung nasa right, yun yung mas malaki yung value than yung nasa left. So, ganun lang siya. Ayan, so we could rewrite this into -1/2 is less than -1/5. So, yan yung medyo tricky, no? Kasi negative na. So, refer tayo sa real number plane. Okay? So, apparently, these are very easy topic, but minsan kasi easy and very basic. If we neglect this, may mga particular topic sa algebra that that this concept might be helpful, very helpful. Okay? Okay, let's look for another problem. By the way, I'm using the book of Larson, so if you have that book, I'm using the same book. Okay. Let's take this to the next page. So, dito na lang natin lagay. Next page na tayo. Okay. Bounded intervals on the real number line. This is another topic. Let's just try to be familiar with these symbols. This notation, I mean. So, when we say closed interval, we have two reference points. Sige, lagay muna tayo ha. What I mean is this. If we have a real number line, A and B are numbers in a real number line. So, let's say, put 0 ulit. So, these are negative numbers to the left and positive numbers to the right. So, A and B are numbers here in the real number line. So, that would be our reference or endpoints. So, when we say closed intervals, that means A is less than or equal to that number, no, or number that we are, A is less than or equal to a particular number that we are trying to look at, and that number is less than or equal to B. So, i-closed siya, maano siya yung symbol, bracket siya. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? So, ako nagtanong, ako din sasagot. So, let's say this is A. and this is B. So meaning all numbers in between A and B are the values of x. So if x is, let's say A is -1 and B is positive 4. So all numbers in between -1 and 4 are the values of x. Okay? And since closed atong interval, that means appeal ni siya ang A. Appeal pod ang B. Okay? Okay? So, let's have a concrete example na lang. Let's say the closed interval, let's say a closed interval is, 0 is less than, or ito na lang. Let's start with, ay, nako. Example, let's say 0, 5, ayan. So that means, the value of x is in between 0 and 5. Appeal ang 0 and 5. So, 0 is less than or equal to x, but x is less than or equal to 5. Okay? So, if we plot that, that would be this 0, and let's say this is 5. So, all numbers from 0 to 5 are part of the values of x. Ayan. So, tanan na values diri, including 0 and 5. So, yun yung ibig sabihin nun. Kasali si 0 and si 5 sa values ni x. So, that's why it's a closed interval. Okay? How about open interval? So, open interval, it's not equal, less than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So, wala na yung equal. That means, if we have the same, describe the same interval, so, again, this interval, 0 to 5, 0 and 5 are not included, di ba? 0 and 5 are not included in the values of x. So meaning mo start lang ta sa 0.000, 0.000000001 up to 4.9999999, but cannot be equal to 5. So that particular concept, medyo gamit na siya if we discuss about limits. Okay? Pero medyo matagal pa yung limit. Sa calculus na yun. Okay? So this only means that A and B are not included in the values of x, but the values that are less than A and the values that is, the values that are greater than A but less than B are the numbers that are included. What I mean is, halimbawa ang A natin is 0, hindi kasali yung 0, pero kasali yung 0.0000001. Diba? So, because that is mas dako ang x, mas dako ang 0.0000001 than 0. Or kung atong basahon in this manner, 0 is less than 0.00001. Okay? So, same as here, B is, let's say B is, ato na 5, no? So, it cannot be equal to 5, but it could be 4.999999999 and so on. Okay. So, kaning duha dire, these are just combination of these two, close and open. So, dire, i-close siya sa A, meaning included yung A, pero yung B di siya kasali. Only numbers less than B. Dire, di kasali yung A, meaning all numbers greater than A lang, because X is greater than A. Ayan. All numbers greater than A lang, pero numbers less than B and equal to B are included. So, that's why ganito. So, eto, open interval, meaning di kasali si A. Close interval, kasali si B. Meaning, open dire, close dire. Okay. Dami ng okay, no? Sige, let's try one problem. Lapit na tayong mga proceed to the next topic. Let's try this particular problem. Eto na. Sorry, Taglish ko kay medyo hindi pa ako sanay na puro lang English and Bisaya because I am not a natural born Bisaya. Okay, unbounded intervals in the real number line. Meaning, ano ba yung unbounded? So, walang boundary. Look at this. This symbol is infinity. Diba? Okay. So, that means, dire, if magno-notation ka, unya, your boundary is infinite, so meaning, open siya. Kasi infinite naman yung approach mo, di ba? So, that would not make sense if infinite ni dire, unya, nag-close ka dire. Because infinite is just, ito ha, when we look at infinite, sa mathematics kasi, the our usual um, concept, tama ba? The way we look at infinity is that infinity is undefined because let's say 1 over 0 is infinity. So, sa undefined lang, so that's infinity. We don't know. Pero, in mathematics kasi, it would be easier, the concept would be easier if lagyan natin to ng sense. When we say infinity, that could be a very, 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 very large number. Okay? Dili na 1 over 0 is undefined. Actually, pwede natin sabihin na 1 over 0 is a very, very, very large number. Pwede natin explain that kung nasa limits na tayo. Pero, dito muna tayo, let's try to make sense out of this infinity. So, sabi ko ba nga kanina, when ang atong boundary is infinity, open siya. Kasi you cannot close at infinity because you cannot identify which number, which very, very, very large number is this. Diba? So, open lang siya. Meaning, sa atong real number line, drawing natin real number line, naging red na siya ngayon. Okay. So, let's say yung A natin is this. This is our A. So, anong sabi dito? It is closed at A. So, meaning A is included. So, ganito na lang yung symbol. Sa ibang mga libro, ganito siya. A is included and up to a very large number ngadto pa. So, ato lang i-represent by an arrow. Meaning, the numbers of A include 0 and all numbers ngadto to the right. Kaya, infinity dito. Nya, open lang siya. Okay? So, how about this? What does this mean? So, it means na dili na appeal ang A. So, a number that is very close to A but greater than A are the numbers that are the values of X. Nya, up to the right. So, tanan na values nga to. Okay? So, next is kani. What does this mean? What does this mean? So, that's negative infinity. So, again, tungod ka infinity siya, so open lang siya dire. Ayan, infinity siya. So, open, infinity, open, infinity, open. Yun. So, what does this mean? It means that, since, sorry, tumalon yung pencil. Okay, parang pangit na. Sira yata yung ano ko. Camera. Okay. Sa B, asa na tayo? Nasa B na nga. Ito. So, if B is like here, right here. So, that is the location of B. So, location of B is gikan ko no sa negative infinity. So, meaning, kani siya tanan na values ngadto or included in those values. Okay, in that interval. Ito. So, X is less than or equal to B. So, kani ang B, so tanan na less than B. Or B and tanan na numbers less than B. Okay? Then, how about the next one? Okay, so next one, dili na appeal ang B. So, meaning, a number very close to B lang, i-open lang natin dyan siya. Yeah, to the left, kihapon. So, meaning, all numbers that is less than B. Ayan na. All numbers is less than B. So, kani siya, from negative infinity to positive infinity, that is the entire real number line. Ito, from negative infinity to positive infinity, that's the entire real number line. So, infinity is less than x, which is less than positive infinity. Ay, so ganun lang siya. Okay? Okay, let's go back to that topic siguro sa pagdating ng calculus. When we start discussing about limits. Sira na yata yung camera ko. I will change my camera muna. Okay, let's continue with our next problem. Okay, let me look for problem right here. Okay, let's try this one. Using inequalities to represent interval, to represent intervals. So let's call this our problem kapila na ni 4. So for our problem 04, use inequality notation to describe each of the following. So letter A. So if you may try at your, if na mo scratch diya, you may try answering this. So anong sabi dito sa letter A? So an instruction again, use inequality notation to describe each of the following. So letter A, C is at most 2. So what does that mean? C is at most 2. So kung ato pa siya interpret in Filipino, that means yung 2 ay yung pinaka malaki niyang value because it is at most 2, di ba? So C is at most 2. So how do we write the inequality notation? So that means C is at most 2. So 2 yung pinakamalaki niya. So hindi siya pwedeng lumampas sa 2. So that means it's less than or equal to 2. C is less than or equal to 2. Make sense? Diba? C is at most 2. So 2 yung pinakamalaking value niya. Okay, ayusin natin. How about letter B? M is at least negative 3. So that means M daw, ang pinakamaliit na value niya is negative 3. So therefore, M mas malaki sa negative 3. So that means M is greater than or equal to negative 3 because at least man siya. So meaning kasaling negative 3. Yun ang mahirap, no? Mathematics tapos nilagyan na ng English. Pwedeng isa lang. Isa-isa lang, wala tayong choice. For letter C, all x in the interval negative, eto. So our interval is this. So open siya, negative 3, then 5. Close siya dire. So how do we write the inequality symbol? So pag open siya, it's less than or greater than. Okay? So how do we write this? Uy, lumilipad ang aking notes. Sorry. Binabasa niyo ba yung ano? Tingnan natin ha. So letter C, all x in the interval negative 3, 5. So ano ibig sabihin nun? So negative 3, lagay muna natin x and 5. Okay? So that means ang negative 3 is less than x. Diba? Kasi open siya. Then, close siya sa 5. So, kasali yung 5. So, it's less than or equal to 5. Napakadali. Hashtag, again, walang challenge. Ay. For our next problem, hanap ulit. Ito. How about this one? So problem, is this problem 5? 05? Okay, it's problem 05. So for problem 05, interpreting intervals, give a verbal description of the interval. Sana yung verbal description? Oh no. Yun yung medyo challenge dito kasi English yata to. For letter A, sorry. For letter A, it's an open interval at both ends. So how do we write this? Okay? So pwedeng sabihin natin na a number is greater than negative 1 but less than 0. Makes sense? Because this would be written as negative 1 is less than x is less than 0. So, mama na siya. So, since we are describing that number, x, so yung pagkasulat ko dito is binasa ko siya ng paganon, from here to here. So that means x is greater, mas dako, nakabuka siya dyan. So x is greater, although, kasi nasanay tayo, sorry, tumalon naman. Nasanay tayo na ito is less than, then ito is greater than, but it depends on how you read it, di ba? So kung I read it this way, that manner, so that means negative 1 is less than x. Pero if I read it this way, padung ngadto, or in that manner, so as I say that x is greater than negative 1. So since what I'm describing here is that number, or x, so that's why, ang sinulat ko dito is, a number is greater than negative 1 but less than 0. So I am describing this number as greater than negative 1 but less than 0. Ay, yun lang no. Anyway, that's just a matter of a matter of common sense. How about letter B? So, isulat muna natin yung ano niya, inequality notation. So, letter B. So, that would be 2 then infinity. So, ano ibig sabihin pag 2 then infinity? So, meaning all numbers to the right. All numbers to the right. Yeah, close siya sa 2. So, meaning 2 is included in that interval. So that means that number is greater than or equal to 2. Make sense? So all numbers that are very large numbers are included to the right. Kunya, included po ang 2. So hindi na sinali yung all else. So that means mo ini atong notation. So paano natin susulat to? Verbally. So a number greater than sorry, that's para uniform. I-change mo natin yung color nito ha. Wait, ayan, hindi masyadong pareho, pero sige na. A number greater than 2, yun lang. A number greater than or equal to 2. Okay, how about letter C? Sa letter C, included yung mga negative numbers and 0. So meaning all numbers less than 0. Kaya kung i-illustrate natin, kung ito yung 0, all numbers na negative infinity is right here, to the left. So that's negative infinity. So all these numbers, open man siya sa 0, so therefore 0 is not included. So it's not equal to 0, or it could not be equal to 0. So therefore, x, we describe as x as numbers less than 0. So verbally, we could write that as a number less than 0. Hashtag walang challenge na naman. Ay, wrong spelling pa. Walang challenge. Anyway. Ayan. Okay, let's proceed. Sige. Lapit na tayo matapos sa topic na to. We'll proceed to the next topic. Anyway, easy pa naman siya. I think, if I give you an exercises for this, kayang-kaya nyo masolve in a day or less. So, you just give kasi pinili nyong sumali sa bridging class, and this is very helpful to you. So, much better if you take this seriously and answer or practice on the exercises that we'll give you. Okay? So, marami akong sinasabi. Let's proceed to this topic. What is this? Absolute value and distance. The absolute value of a real number is its magnitude, or the distance between the origin and the point representing a real number on the real number line. English. Anong ibig sabihin nito? What do we mean when we say magnitude? So magnitude is, how do we say it in another term? Ang kagrabe, pwedeng ganun. It's a value regardless of its direction. If we are comparing it to a vector quantity, maybe you're not familiar with that yet. But when we say magnitude, that's the value of a particular quantity. Sige lang, we'll continue. So, When we say absolute value, absolute. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin pag absolute? When we say absolute value, because we are not looking at the at its um, we're just looking kung gaano siya kagrabe, but we are not looking kung in what sense. For example, we're talking about distance. No, but we're talking about velocity or kabilis tumakbo. So, when we say magnitude, yun yung speed niya. Pero we are not considering yet the direction. So, pwedeng mabilis siyang tumakbo to the right, mabilis siyang tumakbo to the left. So, we're not looking at kung to the left or to the right siya. We're just looking at its absolute value na mabilis siyang tumakbo. I hope that makes sense. Sorry. So, how do we define the absolute value um, in terms of mathematical terms or in mathematical terms? Parang redundant yun. So, definition of absolute value. If A is a real number, then the absolute value of A is this. So, the symbol for absolute value is just these two vertical bars. Hilig kayo sa mga bars. So, these two vertical bars. So, the absolute value of A is equal to these two conditions. So, kaya matakot ng mga braces dito. We're just talking about the definition of this as two conditions. So, the value of A, if we are looking at the absolute value of A, the value of A, this value is A, sorry, ulitin natin ha. The absolute value of A is A kung ito yung condition, if it is greater than 0. But the absolute value of A is negative of that value, or negative A, if it's less than 0. Okay. Let us pray. So what does this mean? It means that the absolute value of any number is always positive. Why? Because any number less than 0 is a negative number. Andito yung camera. Any number less than 0 is a negative number. So negative multiplied by negative, that would be positive. So let's say we are looking at the absolute value of 3. It's still 3 because 3 is greater than 0. We're looking at this. 3 is greater than 0, so therefore the absolute value of 3 is 3. The absolute value of A is A. Okay? So ganun lang yun. But if you look at absolute value of negative 3, the answer is negative of negative 3 because our A is negative 3. So the negative of negative 3 is positive 3. Okay? Ano ba yung negative? Di ba yung negative that entails, or positive or negative, actually mathematically or physically, it implies direction, di ba? So if you negate a direction, so that means reverse mo yung direction, di ba? So if value is to the left nya, imo siya gi-reverse, so meaning to the right na siya. Yun lang. Okay. So ganun lang siya kadali. So how do we imagine this in terms of distances? So for example, again, look at na lang negative 3. So A is equal to, let's say A is 3 and let's say B is negative 3. Okay. So the absolute value of A is of course, the absolute value of A, correct? That's the absolute value of 3 is 3. So the absolute value of B, that is absolute value of negative 3, is still 3. So we have 3 different numbers, but they have the same absolute values. So if we are looking at this in terms of distance, we have two values na magkaiba, pero pareho sila ng magnitude. So ano yung magnitude na sinasabi dito? The magnitude is actually its distance from a certain point. Let's say the origin, because we are not comparing this to another number. So what I mean is this. Let's draw again the real number line. Kanina boring yung real number line, no? Kasi ba't ang ginagawa ng line? So let's just make sense out of it. So our reference is this 0. So asan yung positive 3 or atong A? It is to the right of 0, 3 units, 1, 2, 3. So this is 3. And B is to the left because it's negative 3. So that's, natin red, 3 units to the left, 1, 2, 3. So this is negative 3. So ang ibig sabihin nito, they have a different value but they have the same magnitude because their distance from the origin is the same, 3. Magkaiba lang ng direction because this is to the right, this is to the left. Yun yung ibig sabihin ko kanina. So that is magnitude. You are just looking at this value. Ito, yung kagrabe ng distance, so to speak. Kagrabe ng distance, so to speak. But we are not looking at padung man siya asa or its direction. Okay? Nakuha? So, yung absolute value is also the distance. Okay? So, another one. What is now the absolute value, or how do we, by absolute value, how do we now describe the distance between negative 3 and 3? Of course, there is a real number line that is obvious, di ba? It's obvious, you just write pila ka units gikan diri utob nga rin. That is 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Di ba? But, in terms of absolute value, if we take the difference of the two numbers, for example, okay, how do we explain this? If we try this by katong notation kanina, let's include all numbers to the left of 3. Okay? So, all numbers to the left of 3. Okay, let's consider that. Sige, para permanent. Ito lang muna. Okay, all numbers to the left of 3. Unya, all numbers to the left of negative 3. Ayan. So, the distance between negative 3 and 3 is this. Right? That is just this quantity, all these points ngadto, minus kani, which is from here ngadto. So meaning ato ra ni i-minus dire. So mo na ni ang distance. Make sense? No? Or in other words, that would be 3 minus negative 3. Yung 3, ito yung 3 natin, bawasan ng negative 3. So that would be, lagyan natin yung absolute value. The absolute value of 3 minus negative 3, which is positive 6. Or absolute value of 3 plus 3, which is absolute value of 6, which is 6. Okay? Pwede din natin siyang imagine this way. So from negative 3, all values to the right of negative 3. And positive 3, all values to the right of positive 3. So anong ibig sabihin nun? The distance between negative 3 and 3 is this distance. So meaning, this whole line minus ani. Diba? So kaning distansya. Mauna ni. So that would be negative 3 minus positive 3, which is equal to the absolute value of negative 6, which is equal to positive 6. Okay? Very easy. Okay? So, ganun lang siya kadali. So, yun yung absolute value in terms of distances. Okay? So, let's proceed. Yes, malapit na tayong matapos. But anyway, in the regular non-online, non-virtual bridging class, ang sa subject is actually 3 hours per day. So ngayon, I think we are already nasa, umabot na ba tayo ng 1 hour? I don't know. Okay. Let us look at this concept. This is, this will appear pag abot ninyo sa, when you are in calculus na. Madi-discuss to sa calculus. This is actually under signum function. What is the absolute value of x over x for a greater than 0? So let us write this as problem, kapila na? Sorry, problem 6. So our problem 6 is evaluating the absolute value of this. So evaluate absolute value of x over x for a greater than x. Ayusin natin. So how do we answer this? Any idea? Since wala namang kausap dito, so ako din sasagot. Okay. The value of x is less than 0. So what is the condition when the value of x is less than 0? That means the absolute value of this is just negative x. So that means it's negative, the absolute value, sulat natin ha, for x less than 0, the absolute value of x is just negative x. So therefore, absolute value of x over x is just equal to negative x over x. So this is for letter A, ha? Okay, so that is equal to negative 1. Very easy, no? Sobrang dali. For letter B naman, for x greater than 0, ano yung condition natin kanina? Again, dito. Okay, kung greater than 0, ito. That means the same number. So for greater than 0, the absolute value of x is still x. So therefore, no, the absolute value of x over x is just x over x, which is equal to positive 1. Okay? I think may make sense to if may value talaga yung x. So, lagyan natin yung value dito. What value of x is less than 0? Say, negative 2. Negative 2 is less than 0. So, therefore, absolute value of negative 2 over negative 2, that would be, what the absolute value of negative 2 is 2 over negative 2. So, the answer is negative 1. Okay. Kani. Let's look at a value that is greater than 0. Say, positive 3 is greater than 0. Sorry. I'm very sorry. Mali yung notation natin dito. This should be greater. You might have noticed this kanina. So, ganun talaga nagkakamali. So, greater. So, greater yung kadua. So, nabaliktad pala. Yun. Don't judge me. Nagkakamali rin. So, this, inuna natin yung letter B, which is less than 0. Less than 0. Tapos, ito yung for A greater than 0. Halaka, sorry. I'm so sorry. So, that's letter A. So, say, a number greater than 0 is 3. So, that would be absolute value of 3 over 3 equal to positive 1. Kulang. That would be, absolute value of 3 is still 3 over 3 equal to 1. Ay, pasensya na sa mga mali. Tao lang. Not an excuse, but that's it. So, anong hashtag natin dito? That would be hashtag medyo naglibog. Okay? Medyo na-confuse. Ay, wrong spelling. Ayan. Okay, let's proceed. Kaya pa? Ang tanong is, kaya ko pa ba? Okay, last part. Let's try to look at this. The law of trichotomy. So when we say law of trichotomy, it states that for any two real numbers, A and B, precisely one of three relationships is possible. So it could be A is equal to B, A could be less than B, or A could be greater than B. So in other words, we could say that, ano yung ibig sabihin nito? Kung meron tayong dalawang real number A at B, tatlo lang ang posibilidad, or isa sa tatlo ang possible. There are three possibilities niya. And isa lang yung pwede, yung possible. So, it could be na pareho sila, yung A is less than B, or yung A mas malaki sa B. Ayun lang, common sense. So, let's say, for example, let's say 5 and 9. So, if A is 5, B is 9. So, tatlo lang yung possibility, di ba? It could be they are equal, 5 is greater than 9, or 5 is less than 9. So, what is the real relationship between 5 and 9? 5 is less than 9, or 9 is greater than 5. So, ganun lang naman. That is the law of trichotomy. So, let us look at this. Kasi isa lang yung possibility, sa tatlong posibilidad, isa lang yung maaari. So, let's try to compare these numbers. So, place the appropriate symbol greater than, less than, or equal. Or less than, greater than, or equal between the pair of real numbers. I think medyo madali lang to, no? Wala ding challenge. Uy, lumilipad talaga siya. Asan trichotomy? I'm very sorry. Ayan. For letter A, anong pwedeng gawin natin? By the way, this is problem number 7 if I'm not mistaken. So for problem number 7, for letter A, it's negative, absolute value of negative 4 and blanco dito, absolute value of 3. So what is the absolute value of negative 4? It's still 4. And absolute value of 3 is still 3. So that means, yun yung symbol. 4 is greater than 3. So how about letter B? Very easy pa rin, no? So absolute value of negative 10 is 10. Absolute value of negative 10 is 10. So absolute value of 10 is still 10. So the relationship is equal. They are equal. For letter C, the negative absolute value of negative 7. What is absolute value of what is the absolute value of negative 7? It's still 7. So negative times 7. And how about here? The absolute value of 7, or I mean negative 7 is 7. So negative 7, that's less than 7. So hashtag very easy. Walang challenge na naman. Okay, so I think that's it. So I will be giving exercises. I will give you a set of exercises for you to answer. So you may not answer everything. You just need to, I think, practice some. But it would be better since madali pa naman yung topic. It would be better if you could answer everything. But for this particular day, dalawa kasi yung kailangan ma-discuss natin ngayon. Kasi yung sinabi ko pa nga, this is very fast-paced. Okay? So we'll start with the next one.